All right, Falcons fans, I know it sucks, but the season's over. But hey, just like every year, we can go over the takeaways that we saw as fans, right?
Right.
All right, so remember, let's not focus on if Matt Ryan's the problem on this team or not, like we do every year. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we don't have to worry about that take anymore. Thank God. What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown. And if you're new here, welcome. So I know I said this in the last video, but the Atlanta Falcons 2022 season is officially over. And now it is time to go over my takeaways. Like, what are all of the important things that I ultimately saw from this Falcons squad in 2022 and early 2023? And, you know, I kind of tried to do, like, takeaways as a team. I didn't want to do, like, you know, maybe one player, like, I don't know, let's just say, like, for example, takeaway number 2, we're not utilizing Kyle Pitts. I wanted to do kind of something like as I saw as a team and not, like, for one player or one coach. You'll see a little more of what I mean, but I tried to kind of put every player and coach into one takeaway instead of just focusing on how Kyle Pitts should be used or something like that. And, you know, I only have 5 of them, and I feel that these are probably the takeaways that everyone else has, and maybe it's not, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let's get straight into it. All right, so takeaway number 1, I know I already made a video over it last Tuesday, but the rookie class does look amazing. And yeah, Arthur Smith really developed those guys very well. Terry Fontenot drafted the right guys. And I won't go over them too much because I know I said it in the last video, but basically to summarize it, Drake London looks awesome. Tyler Algier, can't wait to see what he does. And we actually have some defensive talent that we can work with in the future. Very young players in Arnold Ebiketie, who's really bringing in some pressures. Really was impressed by him. And he's kind of starting off similar to how Grady Jarrett did in his rookie year. You know, he didn't start off amazing and elite right off the bat, but maybe as time goes on, maybe we will see Arnold Ebiketie become the next Grady Jarrett and become a really good number 1 pass rusher. But let's focus on just his development for year 2. And hopefully he can become at least a good number 2 pass rusher just to start things out. And then Troy Anderson, I would like to see him more in trick plays, because I thought they were going to do that a lot this year. I thought they were going to make him be, you know, play quarterback for a little bit or something. But, you know, as a linebacker, he was fine. I think he was probably our best linebacker on the field. Despite the fact that we let go of Foye Oluokun and he led the league in tackles again, which is kind of, you know, it's what it is. But, I mean, hey, we got a young player to develop in Troy Anderson. And then Desmond Ridder, not crazy sold on the fact that he's the future of the franchise yet, but I feel good that he's going to be the starter for year 2. And then, you know, I think he's shown enough potential to at least build around him and hope that he can develop a little more. He played fine. Not great, but fine. And I think the players, and even Arthur Smith, likes playing for him. This is something I did not mention in the last video, but, you know, I know throughout the season I was saying, I don't know if Arthur Smith really even has some sort of connection with Desmond Ridder. I was kind of buying into the theory that he was going to make these plays that sets up Desmond Ridder for failure, because it didn't really seem like he was all that committed to him, right? Like, he tried to get Jimmy Garoppolo over the offseason, even though he drafted Desmond Ridder only in the 3rd round. He started Marcus Mariota for such a long time. He really didn't seem so, you know, desperate to put in Desmond Ridder. I thought he didn't have any connection with him. But it does seem like that Arthur Smith is trying to make Desmond Ridder do the best that he can. And I think you have seen development from Desmond Ridder throughout the season. So I guess I was wrong on that. It looks like Arthur Smith is giving Desmond Ridder a fair shot. And that's all you could really hope for in your rookie quarterback. And I just really like this rookie class. Can't wait to see how they do next year. Takeaway number 2 is that under Arthur Smith, this Falcons team will always be resilient and feisty. I can't really think of many games to where the Falcons were totally out of it, other than like the Bengals game, even though I guess we were like in it for like the first half, but then we kind of got manhandled, and then, you know, we didn't really do that well against the Ravens, but most games, I felt like we were kind of in it. I mean, it was just like last year where we were in playoff contention for much longer than not only did people expect us to be, but also more than we probably should have been. Falcons at one point were first in the NFC South. Who saw that coming? So this Falcons team is very resilient. They never give up. I think they do have that winning culture, which I believe was one goal that I wanted the Falcons to accomplish in 2022. Early on, even before Matt Ryan was traded, I think, I said that they should build a winning culture. And I think they did do that. And so that's good to see that Arthur Smith at least is keeping this team disciplined. They never really feel like they're too out of it. They don't feel like they're a bottom-dwelling team. And they did have some big upsets against really good playoff teams like the Seahawks and the 49ers. We almost came back 28-3 versus the Super Bowl, or the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Rams. Even though the Rams had a weird season, it's still kind of cool to see that we almost pulled it off. And then, just finishing out the season strong, a win to the playoff Tampa Bay Buccaneers finally. This team does not give up, and it's really good to see. And you know what? For Arthur Smith in year 1 and 2, yeah, sure, you would hope to see him bring the team to the playoffs and win a lot of games, but you also hope that he would bring in a good culture, and I think he did accomplish that. So, entering year 3, I think it does mean that we do have to see playoffs from Arthur Smith, but at least we got the culture down. Number 3 is that the future is looking a lot more clear than it did before the season started. The season was extremely unclear to start. We were like, okay, is Desmond Ridder the 3rd round pick? Are the Falcons that committed to him? It doesn't really seem like they are. When is he ever going to get in? Is Marcus Mariota going to turn his career around? Is Dean Pease still trying to shake off the retirement off his shoulders? This team is incredibly young. Did we draft well? Do the Falcons have any sort of shot at not being the first overall pick in the draft? Because a lot of people were picking us to pick first. There were so many question marks. I was honestly probably the least excited I've been for a Falcons season ever for the 2022 season. Like, I obviously deep down I wanted to see the Falcons play and whatnot, but I also just was like, I don't really know what is super optimistic, because this team is super young and there's just so many rookies. We're too young and too many rookies. but it's looking a lot more clear. Like, we have a great rookie class to work with. Hopefully we can get the 2021 draft class working as well. It looks like Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot are here to stay for a little while. They're doing a pretty good job building this team, I would hope. We got Desmond Ridder. I think he's shown enough promise to at least develop him for 1 or 2 more years. Drake London looks like our wide receiver number 1. Tyler Algier. If Cordero Patterson can't stay, we're perfectly fine at running back. The offensive line has really improved. And we know that we have some defensive talent like AJ Terrell and Grady Jarrett, Arnold Ebiketie, Troy Anderson. We have more talent than we thought we were going to have entering the season. And this team is not talentless. So I think we have a better understanding of, okay, this team is not a bottom-dwelling team. I don't think it's going to be that long to build a great roster, especially knowing that the Falcons have $70 million in cap. So this offseason is looking like it's going to be a pretty interesting one. Going to have to get a new defensive coordinator as well. But yeah, we know that this team is not as far away from playoff contention as we had hoped. So that's good. But at the same time, I'm going to contradict everything I just said. Number 4, we can't continue to be an average team. I know I said earlier in take number 2, by the way, is that the Falcons were resilient and whatnot, but we're also very average. Back-to-back years under Arthur Smith, winning only 7 games. It's overachieving, but it's still not all that good. And then the Falcons just consistently have this win-loss thing. Like, 1 week they'll win to the 49ers, then they'll lose to the Bengals, then they'll win to the Bears, and then they'll lose to the Commanders, and then they'll lose again to, the Ravens. I can't remember the schedule specifically at this point, but it was very inconsistent. Last year we won a lot of road games, barely won at home. This year, barely won on the road, really won a lot of games at home. We can't seem to get Kyle Pitts utilized, but we can get Drake London utilized. We can develop a pretty good offensive line with Tyler Algier. I don't know. The defense still can't seem to figure a lot of things out. We're very average. We're overachieving a little bit, but we're still not very good, and we have to get over the hump. Year 3 under Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot literally has to be playoffs, or, I don't know if the future will look as bright as I'm saying it is right now. And then take number 5 is we don't really have to worry about losing too much star talent. Cordero Patterson is kind of getting up there in age, and Grady Jarrett, Jake Matthews. Those are the only players that I can maybe see leaving, even though they did kind of get contract extensions not too long ago. But, everyone else, Desmond Ridder, I'm not going to get rid of him. Drake London, our hopeful wide receiver number 1. Kyle Pitts, hopeful tight end number 1. Tyler Algier, hopeful running back number 1. AJ Terrell, still very young. Still have some young safeties to develop. Arnold Ebiketie, hopeful pass rusher number 2, or hopefully number 1 in the years to come. Michael Walker is still very young. So there's a lot of young players to keep. So we don't really have to worry about losing too much talent. And with all the cap space that we have, hopefully we can bring in a lot of star talent and draft very well, which is what Terry Fontenot did in year 2. So the future is looking pretty bright for the Falcons. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I'll see you guys with a video this Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Love and appreciate you all for the support. And as always, rise up.